Hi guys, good morning. Hello. I just wanted to come live again and do this a little more often, and I'm using a new software today, so let's hope that everything turns out smoothly. And welcome. I want to talk today about some things that I hear from a lot of you and where I get a lot of questions from everyone regarding what is the reason that I have gut troubles? Like, what was it that gave me gut troubles? Was it all the antibiotics that I've been taking, or was it my childhood trauma? Was it that I wasn't breastfed? Is it a virus? Is it a bacterium? You know, there's a lot of questions regarding this, and I just wanna, did I show the title of this? There, we can do all this stuff with this new software now. So yeah, so if you have any questions while we're live here, I only have like a few minutes before I have to hop on another call, but I wanted to go live real quick and discuss this with you today because, as you might have guessed, there are many reasons why people are dealing with gut troubles. And, sorry about this. This is my shower hair. I'm just coming on here super real today. Yeah, so a lot of people are following the standard American diet or the standard Western diet, as it's sadly now a standard, unhealthy processed foods, fast foods, lots of oils that are inflammatory. And that's one thing that makes things worse. Chronic stress, traumatic events, big life events, that you might have been going through, a relationship or a job that you hate, that you're constantly dealing with, like surrounding yourself constantly with people that are no good for you, that bring you down. Yeah, then let's move on over to, did we already talk about antibiotic use? No, well, lots of rounds of antibiotics. I mean, that was a big one for me too. Yeah, and in combination with when I grew up, we had the low-fat, high-sugar diet to keep the body lean, that never, I mean, it worked for the short term, but it gave me terrible candida that it took me years and years and years to figure out how to get rid of for good. Viruses, there's more and more connection now with the gut and viruses, other parasites, proton pump inhibitors. You have a little bit of stress and gastric distress, then doctors throw on, or even a big amount of it, people throw on these stomach acid reducing medications from their doctors, because the doctors don't know any better either. Proton pump inhibitors, they're usually called, and that just messes everything up down the line. If stomach acid has a reason, and if we reduce it, we have to be aware that there's things happening down the line, like malabsorption, or other bugs that shouldn't be there, that usually get killed by the stomach acid, now have much more opportunity in your gut to fester. Yeah, then toxic metals even, a lot of people have toxic metals in their body, heavy metals, not just from those amalgam fillings, that they don't do anymore, or by having them removed in a non-professional way, but we can even inherit those heavy metals from our parents, through the placenta, through the sperm of the father. There's lots of ways that can be passed on to the children. So we don't even know what our ancestors have been up to always, or what leads, mercuries, and other metals they've been exposed to. And we could still be carrying them around in our cells. And then these pathogenic gut bacteria, they can really thrive on those metals. So really, whatever, and then, I mean, I already mentioned stress a little bit, but the big thing really is that gut-brain connection, that whole vagus nerve the whole HPA axis, the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenals, everything that has to do with stress. Stress creates a very beneficial, my word lost me. When you're in chronic stress, you create a very good garden, let's call it, down in your gut for the bad gut bacteria. When you are trying to tend to that garden, we call it in German, or here too sometimes, but it's not as common, we call it the gut flora, which is really, you are trying to grow a healthy garden in there. So you don't want to make it a good environment for the bad and pathogens and bad bugs to fester, or for the protozoa, for the other parasites, for the yeasts. There are some beneficial yeasts too, but if you look back on your life, and if you look at your life circumstances, maybe now you'll get a better idea of what it means to have your gut troubles, where they can be coming from, and what can be the culprits for them. And yeah, everyone is a little different too. And the other thing is too, with the genetics we carry around, a lot of people, I hear them say, my parents have this, my father had that. It's not just the genetics, it's also the epigenetics, the way that trauma and stressors can actually change our genetics, but then also a lot of what parents pass on, especially mothers, we pass on to our children when they're born. Our vaginal microbiome is the first thing they really get into contact with, bacteria-wise. So that's what they get passed on. Then they get passed on our stress handling. They get passed on our way of eating, our way of living. So that all together also oftentimes, makes it for a very similar, circumstance for the gut, for a very similar environment. So the genes you carry around do also play a role in this, but also you have to be aware that when you finally heal your gut and you do get that microbiome to that ratio where it should be of 85-15, and you go through a thorough rehabilitation process of the gut, and not just putting medication on there and working on a couple of symptoms here and there. But once you have a well-balanced microbiome, then those beneficial gut bacteria will actually help you switch off bad genes or illness genes in your body. So it's all a win-win situation when you heal your gut. You also will be able to prevent so many other future illnesses. You will be keeping your body nourished. You will be preventing malnourishment or deficiencies. There's just so much good that comes with it. But I want you to just be aware that it took your gut a long time to get where you are, and you probably have an idea when it started. I mean, for me, I was already chronically constipated as a kid, and I mean, thankfully, I'm fine now because I've gone through the work. I've done it once thoroughly, and that really cracked the code. But I look back, and I had a fairly healthy childhood, but still, I was always constipated. And then the low-fat, high-sugar diet didn't help, for sure. But it's not that there was one reason why I finally had candida. I also was on birth control for so long. I smoked. That all is something that really helps candida grow. But where my gut was at the time, or where my body was at the time when I was dealing with the worst symptoms, was really just a combination of everything in my life. So far, it's like a tally, you sum it up. You're at the supermarket, you add on another thing, you add on another thing, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. So if you look back now onto your life, you can probably get a better sense of where it's coming from, since when you've been dealing with it, and then also realize that it's most likely not going to be just a week until you can turn this around, or there isn't any magic supplement that will help you undo what you've been doing for so many years. Knowingly, a little bit maybe, but mostly unknowingly. You know, we don't know what's going on in there. This science is really still very young, and we're just learning more by the week of, you know, beautiful connections between a healthy microbiome and general health, and between an unhealthy microbiome and a lot of chronic illness. So that's what I wanted to get through to you guys today, and I hope you find it useful. And if you have any questions, just comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. Or if you want to talk to me personally about what it means to work together to get your gut back and turn your symptoms around, then let me know too. I do have a couple of openings right now to work with people. So yeah, I will leave you with that today, and I'll post the link to my calendar in the comments. And I hope you all have a great Thursday, and we'll see you here again soon. Bye.